Now we'll start with the story, The Sound Machine by Roald Dahl. It was a warm summer evening, and Klausner walked quickly through the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. So it was a warm summer evening. It was the time of evening, and Klausner is the protagonist of the story, and he walked inside his house from the front gate and around the side of the house and into the garden at the back. So he reached the end of his house. He walked through the garden. He went on down the garden until he came to a wooden shed. And then he reached a wooden shed. There was a wooden shed at the end of the garden. And he unlocked the door, went inside and closed the door. And then he entered that shed, right? So there was you can say a small shed. Shed is normally made for keeping animals, right? So there was a small shed kind of a thing which had a door which was a covered thing, and then he entered that shed from the door, and then he locked the door from inside. The interior of the shed was an unpainted, so it was not a very well maintained room kind of a thing. It was unpainted. Against one wall on the left there was a long wooden workbench. Workbench is a long bench kind of a thing which you use to uh, do something like perform some activity or do some work on it. You keep your things on it and then you do some work. Among a littering of wires and batteries and small shafts. Littering means these like all the wires and batteries, they were spread out, scattered on that work bench. And there were some very sharp tools also. I told you that he is like trying to invent something. So he has all these wires and batteries and sharp tools. There stood a black box about 3 feet long, the shape of the child's coffin. So there was a black colored box. A black box was also there, and it was the size of a child's coffin. See, the coffin for children, they are smaller in size as compared to the adult coffin. So there was a coffin which was there was a black box kind of a thing which appeared like a coffin. It looked like a coffin and about 3 feet long. So it was 3 feet high and the shape of a child's coffin. And the shape also resembled the coffin, child's coffin. You know what is a coffin? A coffin is a box kind, yes, right? Where the dead bodies are kept and then they are buried. Yes. Klausner moved across the room to the box. So Klausner entered the room and then he went towards the box. The top of the box was open, and then top of the box was open, and he bent down and began to poke and peer inside it. Peer means when you're trying to search something very carefully, when you're looking at something very carefully. So that is peering. Poke means, poking means to push in one direction, right? Normally when you push your finger, that is also poking. So he was like trying to test something, maybe trying to find out something inside the box. Inside it, among a mass of different colored wires. And what was inside the box? There were different colored wires in the box and silver tubes. So these were like the things which he was using to make some machine, right? He's trying to invent a sound machine. So these are these wires, silver tubes, and sharp tools. So these things are being used by him. So that is why they are scattered there on his workbench. There is a black box which resembled a coffin, which was approximately 3 feet high. And so all these things were used. They were a part of his, you can say, the invention which he is trying to do. He picked up a piece of paper that lay beside the box, studied it carefully, put it down, peered inside the box, and started running his fingers along the wires, tugging gently at them to test the connection, glancing back at the paper, then into the box, then at the paper again, checking each wire. He did this for perhaps an hour. Tugging means Tugging is like when you pull something hard to be sure whether the thing is properly fixed or not, right? So that is tugging. So this is what he was doing, right? He followed this particular process for an hour. He first looked at the paper. Maybe he has made some design or he has written some notes. There were some notes which were made by him on the paper, and then he looked at the paper. Then he again came back to that box and he did something, means tugging the wires, testing the connections and the connection of the wires inside the box, and then again looking at the paper, and then again trying to do something inside the box. So this he followed this process for an hour. This process went on for approximately 1 hour. Means each time he used to look at the paper, then again do something inside the box, then again he looked at the paper, again he did something inside the box. This went on. Then he put a hand around to the front of the box where there were 3 dials, and then he put his hand on the front portion of the box, and on that front portion there were 3 dials, right? And he began to twiddle. Twiddle means to turn, right?
To
There were 3,
twist.
yes. And very nervously he tried moving those 3 dials. He was trying to adjust something, watching at the same time the movement of the mechanism inside the box. So every time he turned the dial, he just peeped inside the box and wanted to be sure whether all these knobs and dials, they are functioning properly or not. All the while he kept speaking softly to himself, nodding his head, smiling sometimes, his hands always moving, the fingers moving swiftly and deftly. Deftly means with a lot of skill inside the box, his mouth twisting into curious shapes when a thing was delicate or difficult to do, saying yes, yes, and now this one, yes, yes. But is this right? Is it? Where's my diagram? So he was doing all these things. See, what does this show? What can you make out from this paragraph about Klausner?
He's very excited about making his invention.
Yeah, he is very excited and he is completely absorbed in that invention which he is
Yes.
trying to make. He's completely absorbed in his work and completely oblivious of his surrounding. He is just looking at the knobs, twisting one knob and then peeping inside. Like whenever you try to do something with all your attention, then you behave, and then you start talking to yourself. So he's even speaking to himself. Yes, yes, and now this one. Yes, again, but this is right. Is it? Where's my diagram? Then he's like he has even started talking to himself. Right? This shows his complete absorption in his work. Ah, yes, of course. Yes, yes, that's right. And now, good, good. Yes, 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 yes. So this is what he uttered. So he was continuously talking to himself also. Means yes, yes, yes means that whatever he tried to do, he was able to accomplish it. Means the things were working for him. So then only you'll say yes, yes, good, good, very good, very good. Now I am able to do it. Now it's moving. Yes. Then where is my paper? See, you talk to yourself when you are completely lost in into whatever you are doing. So his concentration was intense. So now they have written also that he was completely concentrating in his work, right? His movements were quick, and then his fingers were moving very quickly on that device. There was an air of urgency about the way he worked, of breathlessness, of a strong suppressed excitement. And he was so excited. Maybe he has been working on this project, on this particular thing for a long period of time, and now he could see something happening. He must have started seeing the results, or maybe this was the time when he was testing the device which he was created by him, right? Testing the functioning, means whether all the knobs and all the dials, whether they are functioning properly or not. So That is why there was a lot of excitement. Obviously, you are excited when you get the result of your hard work. So with full concentration, his concentration was intense, means he was completely absorbed in his work, completely concentrating in his work, and his fingers were moving. And he wanted to see, there was an air of urgency. What does it mean? He was so excited. When you are excited about something, you feel that this particular thing is very urgent, right? So about the way he worked, of breathlessness, and then he was breathless also, of a strong suppressed. Why? There was some suppressed excitement inside him, right? He was really very excited, and still he was not bringing out that excitement completely. He was not giving it a complete, there was not a complete vent of that excitement, right? That excitement was not released completely. Why? Because the machine was not yet tested, right? Till now he was, what he was doing, till now he was just trying to test the functioning, means whether all the parts of this machine are working properly or not. Suddenly he heard footsteps on the gravel path outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened. So maybe he was bending inside that box and trying to move the dial, and so he straightened himself, his body. He straightened his body, and when he heard someone walking outside on the gravel path. Gravel path means the path which is made of small stones. Normally in the garden we have a gravel path outside, and he straightened and turned swiftly as the door opened. And then he heard someone opening the door, and the moment he heard that, he turned to look who was there, and a tall man came in. And who entered? A tall man came inside that shed. It was Scott. It was only Scott, the doctor. And then he again, oh, it's Scott, only Scott. And who was Scott? Scott was the doctor. Well, 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 the doctor said. So this is where you hide yourself in the evening. Oh, so now that is why you don't come out of the house and you don't meet us. This is the place where you hide yourself in all your evenings, right? Maybe because he was continuously working on this project, so he might not be going out in the evenings, meeting his friends and the other people, meeting his friends and acquaintances. And so that is why the dog, oh, acha, this is the place where you keep hiding during evenings. That is why you don't come out of the house. Now, I finally came to know. Hello, Scout, Klausner said. So, Klausner just greeted him. I happened to be passing, the doctor told him. So, I dropped in to see how you were. There was no one in the house. So, I came on down here. How is the throat of yours been behaving? So, maybe a few days ago he was suffering from cold. So, that is why the doctor said that I was just passing by your house, and then I thought of paying a visit to you and just to inquire about your throat, how you are feeling now. How is your throat been behaving? Means how is your throat? Whether you still, whether it is still troubles you, or is it okay? It's all right. It's fine. But see, Klausner was not interested in entertaining the doctor just now. See, what happens when you're busy and completely occupied with something, and somebody, a visitor drops in? How will you feel? Obviously, you will feel irritated. That visitor will not be welcome at that time. You just want that person to go away, to disappear, to vanish from that place. So the same thing was with Klausner. The doctor is inquiring about his well-being. How is your throat being now? And so he says, it's all right, it's fine. Now I'm here, I might as well have a look at it. So the doctor said, doctor wanted to be sure. He said that now because I'm here, I might check your throat, whether it's okay or whether the things are still problematic. Please don't trouble. I'm quite cured. I'm fine. So Klausner was kind of irritated. He said, no, no, my throat is okay. Now please don't trouble me. Because he just wanted to concentrate in his work at the present moment. The doctor began to feel the tension in the room. And see, when you will talk to someone like this, there is a visitor, at your place and you say, "Arey, please don't trouble me. I'm okay." So obviously, what will the person do? He will sense those vibes, and then that is why the doctor also sensed it, and he started feeling that he is an unwelcome guest at the present moment in this house. The doctor began to feel the tension in the room, and so he realized that Klausner is not okay at the present moment. He doesn't want me to be here. He looked at the black box on the bench. Then he looked at the man. "You have got your hat on," he said. So then that strange looking box, which resembled a coffin, right, which was lying there on the bench, then that box caught the attention of the doctor. He just looked at that box, and then he again looked at Klausner, right? He didn't say anything. He looked at the box. He looked at Klausner. See, if you find something which is not normal at some place, obviously it will excite your curiosity. So that box attracted the attention of the doctor. Then he looked at the man. "You have got your hat on." And then he looked at Klausner, and he reminded Klausner that all this while he has been working with his hat on. That was the level of his concentration. That was the level of his absorption in his work. That he didn't even realize that on entering the shed, on entering that particular place, he forgot to take off his hat. So then the doctor reminded him that you have still not taken off your hat. Your hat is still there on your head. "Oh, have I?" Klausner reached up, removed the hat, and put it on the bench. So Klausner said, "Oh, is it so that I have not removed my head?" Then he quickly took off his hat and kept it on the bench. The doctor came up closer and bent down to look into the box. "What's this?" he said. "Making a radio." The doctor said, "What's this, a strange instrument?" "Oh, you are trying to make a radio now." "No, just fooling around." But Klausner was not interested in giving all the detailed explanation about the box. He said, "No, it's just time pass. I'm just fooling around, right? Trying to do something. No, nothing important." And you say, "No, just fooling around means it's nothing very important, right? Just leave it." It's got a rather complicated looking innards. So the doctor just peeped inside that black box and he said, "This has got some complicated inner parts." Innards means the inner parts and in the inner components of a machine. So once he peeped inside that box, he realized, and he said, "But this has got some strange, complicated internal arrangement, this machine, whatever you are making." Yes, Klausner seemed tense and distracted. So Klausner was distracted now. He was feeling tensed. Right? See, this was a very crucial time for him. Right? He was so excited. He was like, he wanted, his things were almost done. His machine was on the verge of completion. He was just testing, tugging wires and just checking whether the things have been properly fixed or not. And if somebody, when you are like at the end of your work, some work which is very important to you, and somebody drops in and asks so many questions, how will you feel? You'll feel distracted, irritated, and all these feelings will come inside. You'll just want that person to go away from that. So the same thing was happening to Klausner. So Klausner seemed tense and distracted. "What is it?" the doctor asked. "It's rather a frightening looking thing, isn't it?" So he said, "What is it? It's looking so frightening because see, it resembled a coffin, right?" So he said, "This whole thing appears to be very frightening or very scary. So what is it? Please tell me." "It's just an idea." "Yes. It has to do with sound, that's all." So Klausner said that it is just an idea and it has to do only with sound. It is something, I'm making some instrument which is related to sound. Good heavens, man. Don't you get enough of that sort of thing all day in your work? That sort of thing means that sound. So now the doctor was surprised. He said, "Don't you get enough of sound in your life?" all day in your work. We already have enough sounds in our life. So what is the need to make an instrument to listen to some sound? I like sound. So then Klausner said that the sound is something which I find very fascinating, and I have a great admiration for sound. So it seems. The doctor went to the door, turned and said. So the doctor said, yeah, I can make out, after looking at this instrument, I can definitely make out that you like sounds. The doctor went to the door, turned and said, well, I won't disturb you. Glad your throat's not worrying you anymore. So the doctor said, okay, fine, now you carry on with your work. I won't disturb you anymore. You go ahead with your work. But he kept standing there. But still, the doctor was also very curious. He wanted to know the details of what's happening in this shed. But he was he withdrew. He didn't ask many questions because he could sense. He could sense from the body language and the way Klausner was replying that he is not very welcome, and his questions and queries will also not be very welcome. You know these one-liners which were uttered by Klausner to answer the questions and the queries. He didn't try to explain till now, did he? In any of his replies, he's just like trying to get rid of this doctor at the present moment. That is why he is just answering in lesser number of words. He's not using too many words to explain to him what he's actually doing and what is that machine all about. But and so while leaving, he said, "I'm like very happy that the throat is not worrying you anymore." But he kept standing there, looking at the box, intrigued by the remarkable complexity of its inside. So, but he didn't want to go because this thing made him very curious and eager. So he still waited at the door to be invited again and to be explained the details of it, the nitty-gritty of that machine which was made. So he said, they're intrigued by the remarkable. Intrigue means when you are interested in something, right? So he was getting interested in the complex arrangement of the wires and the components which were inside that box. Curious to know what this strange patient of his was up to. So he was curious to know, he was eager to know what this patient of his, what this strange, weird patient is trying to do. What's it really for? He asked. You have made me inquisitive. So still he couldn't resist. Though he realized that he is not welcome, his questions are not welcomed by this person, Klausner, but still he couldn't resist himself and he asked the question. He said, what is it really about? Yes. Can you please explain what is it really about? Right? Please tell me something. You have made me inquisitive. Inquisitive means curious, right? Please, you have excited my curiosity. Now, please explain what is it about. So, we'll end here and then we'll continue